This is going to be your guide for using Frosmoth in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, I know a lot of people love this Pokemon for the design and also it calling back to Generation 5 with Volcarona. So now Volcarona has a counterpart. Except not really. Unfortunately, Frosmoth is literally discount Volcarona in every possible way. And even with the dex cut, that's not enough to like offset and be like, oh, Frosmoth is good because there's less strong Pokemon. No, this Pokemon is a lot trickier to use. So first off, let's compare the stats. Yeah, Volcarona is just better at everything. I think the killer for Frosmoth is the 65. On the speed, because Volcarona, it can take one Quiver Dance on a timid nature and then just run away with the battle, and if it gets two, then it's GG from there. I don't even want to think about what would happen if Volcarona made it into the Generation 8 dex, but now we just got like a worse counterpart Pokemon, so that's kind of unfortunate. And what it means is that Frosmoth needs two Quiver Dance to start getting compelling, kind of, but even then, it can get outsped and overrun. So I'm looking at Pokemon like Dragapult. If Dragapult has a +1, your +2 can't catch it with a modest nature, and even if we go to something like a timid nature, we still can't keep up with it. So it is pretty good. Like, we do have the neutral outspeed against a lot of Pokemon. Like, if they don't have any boosting and we have a +2, that's good. But the problem is we need to make it to +2 with less stats than a Volcarona, and Volcarona has been known to struggle getting to that +2 at times as well. Now, I was also looking for like the best way of running it. Do you want the timid nature? Do you want the modest nature? I'm thinking that +2 is your goal, and looking at other Pokemon, like say Gyarados gets a +1 because of Dragon Dance or Wind Rage, or not Wind Rage, that's Corviknights, or the Airstream. So it uses Airstream, it gets +1. Yeah, you still have the outspeed +2 with a modest nature, so you might as well try to get as much damage as you can out of the Pokemon, because once you start getting into anything above that, a lot more weird Pokemon are just going to be able to outspeed you, and let's say this is like 100 base speed. Well, that's going to be 250. So modest nature gives us +1 speed ties on 90 speed, and then if we want to beat out like 100 base speed Pokemon that are scarfed or have a +1 somewhere in there, then we will need the timid nature. I haven't really seen anything like a scarf Charizard, so I'm guessing that the modest nature, trying to get that damage, is going to be the best case, because if we're at +2, then we're probably at 0 health anyways, so we need to make sure everything in our way goes away after that point, and that's why I just kind of have this, you know, max out speed, max out special attack, modest nature, go for your +2, and the Focus Sash, I think, can make it work, because one thing that's devastatingly terrifying about Frosmoth is its hidden ability, Ice Scales. Special defense is doubled, for free, GG, no re, free. Double. That's insanity. However, it's not a Volcarona with double special defense. It's Frosmoth with double special defense, and even then, it kinda doesn't feel as worth it as it might seem. So let's take Galarian Corsola, let's give it an Eviolite, and go full max special defense investment against a solid special attack. So Life Orb Jolteon, that's gonna be 25 to 31%. The comparison with a full hit point special defense Frosmoth, which would probably be really terrible, because one physical attack and you're completely over. Also means you're going to need more Quiver Dances to get to a position to where you're outspeeding. But yeah, what if we're just sitting there as like, alright, we turn this Pokemon into the filthiest special defense tank that has ever existed. Is it possible? I mean, we're getting barely less damage done than if we were a Galarian Corsola, which is better at tanking and has a lot better things in its moveset for tanking. So even that, I don't think that Frosmoth, like the secret, is making a special tank. There's better dedicated special tanks out there, or at least very comparable ones, in which case you're kind of throwing away the Frosmoth, because it doesn't really do anything else if you are a full special defense tank. And that brings us to another problem. It doesn't have any sustain. Volcarona gets the roost. Volcarona can run away with battles because of the Quiver Dance, its stats, and a roost. Frosmoth, it doesn't have that. The only sustain that it gets is potential Giga Drain. So you have to get a lot of pluses. The opponent has to bring in a ground type or a water type Pokemon so you can Giga Drain them, and then maybe get all of your health back if you maybe one-shot them. Or not even all of your health back. If you one-shot them, you're not even getting all of your health back. So that's still not going to be that great. And you still have no defensive boosting, and your defenses are still really low. So we have 70-60 compared to the 85-65. Like, we're still even more physically frail than the Volcarona, even if we do everything right. And then we don't have any way of, like, getting health back into that. But here's my idea. you use the Ice Scales to your advantage. That if the opponent knocks you out with a special attacker, you bring in Frosmoth. They're probably going to go, ooh, Ice Scales, Quiver Dance. They're not going to be able to KO you. So you get to Quiver Dance, like you eat the hit, Ice Scales is going to save you, Quiver Dance, you eat another hit, Quiver Dance, and now you're faster than them. Or maybe you're faster than them after one Quiver Dance. That's a possibility, but I don't think it's going to have to happen that often. You can get to your +2 that way, and then you can start sweeping from there. Or they see that, they go, well, I don't want to deal with this. I'm bringing in a physical attacker, free Quiver Dance on Switch. They hit you with a ridiculous physical attack. You get knocked out, except it's Focus Sash, so then that's how you get your second Quiver Dance. I think that's it. Like, the breakpoint is 2 Quiver Dances, and then pray you kill things. And at the +2 Quiver Dances with the Modest Nature, you kind of get to kill things. So I just changed this around a little bit. We have 252 Special Attack, Modest Nature, +2 from the Quiver Dances. We get that 1-hit KO and the outspeed onto Jolteon at that point. But now we gotta look at that tank analog known as Silvally. What do we do? At level 50, we barely KO it. So yes, this is good. If you are like neutrally KOing Pokemon that have uninvested 95-95, that is going to be solid. But the problem is, tanky filth Pokemon still get to stall you out because you don't really have anything that you can do against the Toxapex. There isn't like a hidden little electric type move in Frosmoth's moveset or anything. So let's go, and we haven't even talked about this Pokemon's typing either. But, I mean, we look right here, and it's just a lot of weirdness. Like, Calm Mind, so we don't even have the Psychic. Like, that'd be cool if it had Psychic, because then we could at least do something Toxapex. I'd run Psychic over Giga Drain in that situation, but now it looks like if you have, like, if something resists you, then you just don't get to kill it. If it's more tanky than an uninvested Silvally, which is a lot of special defense tank Pokemon, you don't get to do anything against it. And that's why I have like the Air Slash or something. Maybe you get the flinch, and maybe you get some strong neutral hits, and maybe you can convert it into something, but it doesn't really get much better from there. And then Weather Ball is kind of a cool idea for a 4th move slot. Either you come out of a Dynamax Pokemon, and then you might have like a couple turns of weather left, and then you get like a Quiver Dance, find the outspeed, and then you get a 100 base power move that also has cool typings that you wouldn't have access to. Or maybe the opponent has like residual Dynamax effects going on, and you can use the Weather Ball to kind of do something else. I don't know, Weather Ball just seems like a really nice niche pick in this generation. Maybe not on Frosmoth, but I want to bring attention to that, because like that's the only other way you find coverage on this Pokemon, is if there's just lingering weather doing things. But at that point, let's say it's Sandstorm, you're screwed anyway. Sandstorm comes out and finishes you off because you're at 1 hit point from Focus Sash. GG, no re. And that's before we even get into the weaknesses of this Pokemon. Now, the Focus Sash idea kind of bypasses that, unless you are going up against a fire special attacker, in which case you just lose anyways. And yeah, I was talking about like bulky water type or just defensive Pokemon, but fire type Pokemon comes in and you can't do anything with Ice Beam, Quiver Dance, Air Slash, not Air Slash, Bug Buzz, Air Slash. Like, you can't do anything against that. So you just struggle against a lot of these, and that's a lot of super effective hits, which is more super effective hits than the Volcarona. Volcarona, Rock 4x, Water 2x, Flying 2x, so we get an extra 4x for free. It's discount Volcarona in every single way, it's amazing. It's impressive how discount this Volcarona is. So, like I said earlier, I was thinking, like, what happens if you do a dedicated special set? It wouldn't be Shield Dust, you would need the Ice Scales. And it's like, protect leftovers, because then you're getting an 1/8 of your health when you're protecting, and then Quiver Dance into Giga Drain for sustain. But it needs the Roost. It needed Recover. It needed something, but it just didn't get that something, and that makes it weird. And then the last move would probably be just like Ice Beam for that good coverage. Yay! However, we do not give up on the Frosmoth here, because after looking at its moveset, I was like, you know what? This seems like a doubles Pokemon. Like, why does it have the random Wide Guard? It grabs us a Tailwind, we have Aurora Veil, Helping Hand. Let's investigate. Let's investigate, because that might be the secret to using Frosmoth. So, Wide Guard, Helping Hand, Tailwind, pretty much the things that I just mentioned, and there's 2 ways of running this. You can either have Tank Frosmoth, because that could get really disruptive and bad for your opponents, or you can just go Supernova Frosmoth. I want to talk about Tank Frosmoth because it was the first one I thought about, and it might have some usage. So the idea is you just go Tailwind, and you use this bulk to survive, because like Ice Scales, you don't have to invest into your special defense to not be killable from special attacks unless it's a fire type Pokemon, in which case that's going to be a little unfortunate, but it's still going to be alright. And then you can just like take a hit, Citrus Berry activates, like this is a 3-hit KO Pokemon. So they're going to have to hyper-focus you, and you're just a support. and you can still be threatening outside of that. So Wide Guard, that's going to shut down the Rock Slide that would absolutely destroy you, or any kind of other like move that's going to be hitting both Pokemon. Helping Hand, so this is what makes you a support. It's like, I'm going to help this guy out and he's going to kill them, and then if they try to do anything cheeky, I've got the Wide Guard, I'm leading with the Tailwind support, so my buddy's faster than them. There's a lot of good things this Pokemon can bring to the table, and then like either the Ice Beam for that single target damage. Blizzard you can run, but the problem is it isn't perfectly accurate unless you're in Hail. So that's the thing, but I mean, like, this gives you a damage option, or maybe just get rid of the damage option and put some kind of other interesting move inside of here. Like, you can run the Icy Wind. So just in case they're going for like some kind of speed boosting, if they Dynamax and they use an Airstream, and then you're Tailwinded but also using Icy Wind, yeah, that's going to get annoying. You also have access to the Struggle Bug. Struggle Bug drops their special attack, so boom, that's just going to make it to where they're less threatening on your ally Pokemon, which is kind of nice. And then, like, you could run the Reflect, maybe make your defenses, so you go Tailwind Reflect, and then you start doing supportive stuff while splashing in the Wide Guard whenever you feel that you need to. So now you're pretty much very, very hard to kill. And there's just, like, some really weird stuff you can do like that. I was thinking about maybe sitting on the Mirror Coat, but since you have the Ice Scales, it's not going to be, you're not taking a lot of damage, you're not dealing a lot back, so I think you're just better off like with that Ice Beam just for coverage, or just going full into supportive on this Pokemon. And that is like where this one does get weird. We are very invested defensively, so even if we're doubling our speed, we're going to get outsped by quite a lot of Pokemon, which means like reach certain speed tiers, you kind of have to do some weird things. Like pretty much the only outspeed we're finding with this is 100 base speed and lower, so uninvested but at the +2, and then that's going to be a Jolly or a speed beneficial nature 100 speed. So if that's what you want to take, that's what you can take right there, or you can like try to find specific speed tiers depending on what the meta is doing. I think you could get rid of some hit point investment, some defense investment, put the rest into that speed, and now you might find some of those outspeeds that were being problematic, weird +1s and Scarf Pokemon and stuff. If you want to get that outspeed on something like the Dracovish, then that means you do have to get up to the 105 speed and then Tailwind to then double over it. So there are a couple things that you need to keep in mind when you're going for stuff like this, and that's why it's like, this is just like tank. If you want to just sit around and be annoying, that works. Or we have Supernova Frosmoth, which is pretty much just going to be Focus Sash, set up your Tailwind, get that speed, have all those speed tiers and ties we were talking about earlier, and then just like go for the shenanigans. Now, this revolves around having Hail on your team, and unfortunately, no new Generation 8 Pokemon ended up with the Snow Warning. So that makes things a little awkward. However, you can just Dynamax into an Ice-type move, and that's the idea behind this one. First turn, Dynamax, Ice-type move, get the Hail, use the Tailwind that turn. Maybe your Focus Sash pops, maybe they focus your Dynamax Pokemon, which isn't going to die because it has bonus health anyways, and now you are really set up to hurt, because a 125 special attack, Modest Nature Pokemon hitting both opponents with the Blizzard while there's a Dynamax on the field could clear things out. So that Hailstorm first turn, gonna be big damage on the one Pokemon. Blizzard finishes them off, Blizzard hits the other one, and then Hailstorm comes in, so your opponent only gets to do 2 attacks before they get KO'd. And you have Hail up, so after that you can use the Aurora Veil if you need those defenses, and you still have the access to the Wide Guard. So I think this could maybe be the better way of running it in doubles, but I just like having those extra options. If everyone thinks it's gonna be this one, and then this guy starts disrupting, that's pretty good too. And also, this one needs the Dynamax Hail, so you are giving up one of the most important things in Pokemon battles right now, which is your Dynamax, just to get that set up. And a lot of weird things can happen. They can then bring their own weather, they can then just Dynamax and then clear your weather or something, so you need to make sure those KOs happen. And it's still possible with the Frosmoth, and you still have like support and setup and other fun things that you can do. This you can just kind of splash in on any team, and the opponent goes, oh crap, now I have to deal with it, because you're boosting ally damage while making everyone fast. Like, it's just good. It's just good at this rate, because it can't be killed from special attacks, has that natural defensive bulk, and then it's just working like a classic double support, and it might be one of the more successful that tries to do like Wide Guard, Tailwind, Helping Hand. A few Pokemon try to do that. Maybe like some kind of similar to Follow Me in a way as well, just like Pokemon you splash in as a support. Frosmoth, go for it. So guys, enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.